A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to day 3 of the Faculty Development Program on Changing Contours of Legal Education and Teaching Pedagogy. I am Jay Sachan, Assistant Professor, Institute of Legal Studies SRMU, and the co-convener of this program, which I hope and assume that it has kept you all engaged and occupied. I wish that the sessions ahead also keep you glued to your screens with your cameras on and minds occupied. You all are requested to either post your questions in the chat box or raise your hands at the end of the sessions and can ask your questions directly to the speaker. Thank you. Now I would invite our speaker for the first session of the day 3. Before proceeding with the session, I would like to give you all a brief intro of our speaker. Our today's speaker is Dr. Shruti Sharma, Associate Professor, SRMU. Dr. Shruti Sharma has completed her LLM from University of Lucknow and her PhD from Barkatullah University, Bhopal. She is an academician who strongly believes that gradual and steady reforms in society through education is the purpose of academia. She has practiced law for a decade and extensively professed the need to bridge the gap between classrooms to the courtrooms with the introduction of experiential learning and simulations in legal education. As a member of ICC, she has also nurtured new innovations as two startups on legal simulations. She has also teamed up with NCW for their layman book series on Know Your Rights to spread awareness among ignorant girls and women. She has also authored various papers on social issues on gender sensitivity. Now I would request Shruti ma'am to please proceed with the today's session.
Thank you. Thank you, Jaya ma'am. This was indeed a very elaborated introduction. I don't know when you said that further sessions will also keep you glued. I don't know how much I would be able to retain the attention of the delegates here. Anyway, with all the hopes and fingers crossed, the one thing that I really feel good about this FDP is that it has just followed after the this Parv of Guru Purnima, which we have been all having a lot of messages on the WhatsApp and maybe Facebook, and we all were so overwhelmed. I believe a teacher is uska ornament, uska teacher ka assets and investments are all the wishes, and we all were delighted to receive those messages. The question here is that how much we really stand and fulfill those. And I would rather start on a note with a proverb on Guru Purnima, even that we all share. Guru ka sir rakhiye, chaliye agya ma. कोई औपचारिक नहीं, वह व्यक्ति जिस ज्ञान प्राप्त कर जीवन को बेहतर बनाया जा सकता है, वह ही गुरु है. Now, we all know that we all live up to the so it is to the students and so as it is to the teachers. Luckily, fortunately, I was also, is it? Am I not audible?
Man, your voice is
Is
breaking. I
network
think the network is
issue? Okay.
Yes, man. This is network issue. Yes.
Okay, I'll just check. Give me 2 seconds. I'll just check. नहीं? Any change? Maybe the weather today is not very favorable. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Some catchy words that have grabbed my attention, and I would take this session forward from where it was left. So my first deliberation would be on inter. Then it would definitely pave way to interdisciplinary research. What I have not just observed and also discovered that lot of good research नेटवर्क पूछो कहाँ आता है सही आई एम रियली
Dear participant, there is some network issue. Ma'am will join us again in few minutes, so please wait.
Is it better? Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so very
Yes,
much.
Uday. Okay, done.
Okay, thank you, sir. Right. So, I would take few points and which has grabbed my attention uh, from the previous sessions, and one is interdisciplinary research and interdisciplinary curriculum. Now, it is very important to understand that why it is integration should not be the integration that we are doing, right? Integration should be that we should integrate at all levels. As in, when I say this, I mean integration of the curriculum. So, when, say, for example, if we are teaching political science to our BA LLB graduates, we are looking forward that if constitution is there and if we can have something common, we integrate. We have common common lectures, we have common assessment, we have common evaluation. I understand there are BCI restrictions and we cannot explore the same in our end term exams, but certainly we can explore it in our internal. So if the vision is, if your university allows you and give you this discretion of breaking your assessment into two, that is in external, this is generally 60 or 70, and then there is a continuous assessment which is internal, that is 30 or 40 as the case may be. We have so much to explore, we have so much to integrate. So we first, when we are designing our curriculum, the first thing is that we assess our curriculum, and when we assess, we find out where we can collaborate. What are those points where we can collaborate and find the common? Now, we are not here to burden the students, we are here to make them understand and learn. So my first request to all the faculty, now I understand there would be three groups ideally. One in the, okay, ideally two, one who are already existing teachers, and the other group would be the teachers in the making. So I am addressing to this research scholars who are all filled up with ideas, want to really ready to explore. So, it is very important that you learn this exercise, and this is a process. It is not a one day event. So, one subject that you teach, I mean, that you love and you are passionate about, you should stick to that. Try and stick to that, and you can really explore in years to come. You can explore with the kind of, so first thing I would advise or would suggest. So, for example, you are taking an assessment on, say, constitution. Now, constitution, when you are teaching constitution, it is not important that you give them an assignment to do, a case study to do. So there could be a small assessments of 2 marks where you can just integrate, or you can just integrate their minds. You can quickly call them to a quick discussion. So, even if you have a strict wall and strict compartment of 10, 10, 10, 10, even then you can further break those 10 into 2, 4, 6, whatever, right? As per your convenience. So my first suggestion is explore, experiment, be creative with your assessments. Because one thing that they are doing, law is already a little black and white subject. So let's come forward and bring that creativity in the subject. Add that. By default, children are creative. This we all will agree, and this will we all, even NEP has addressed it properly. So with this, with the idea of integration, with the idea of interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, it is also important to understand a small concept of liberal arts. I don't know, and I would really would want a quick response on chat box. How many of you are familiar with the idea of liberal arts, which the world is accepting? So just quickly, if you can give me a response on your chat box. How many of you familiar with the idea of liberal arts? I am waiting for the responses.
I don't know, ma'am.
Say, if you don't know, you need not to say, but if you know, please, your response on. So don't know is coming as a response. I was not looking forward for a don't know answer. I was looking forward for a yes, a positive response that yes, I know. Okay. Anyway, so before moving to interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary understanding, I would take you in short to an understanding of what is liberal arts and how it is important even to the law. Law not largely recognize this as a co-branch, but I completely agree and profess that liberal arts is an important part of anybody's understanding of your life, your world around, your purpose of life. So why you are so all law is very inquisitive in nature. So if you are not questioning, if you are not questioning the basic norms, the prevalent customs, you cannot break through those. Not necessarily that all the practices are right, not necessarily that the practices are, they are just followed, they are followed by the masses, and so they are. झूठ को 10 लोग बोले तो वो सच लगने लगता है. Exactly, this is what happens. So if you, if 10 people start following, that becomes a practice, that becomes a custom, and that gradually becomes a law. And this is how law would have evolved in all these years. Now, liberal art is an idea I would introduce you to, that there are this is a discipline of study that the Pythagoreans taught, and it is again has come into light with lot of recognition even in our NEP. And world over, world around, they are accepting and they are introducing. And if you go to the all metro cities, you will find a lot of talk about this liberal arts. And you yourself will judge how important it is for any student who is graduating, be it of any discipline. So okay, this is a subject or a skill. This could be vary. There could be subjects and there could be skills, and both in the same understanding of liberal, in the umbrella of liberal arts. Now, this is understood to be essential for a person to be free and cultivate to gain a solid foundation of life and purpose. That is all about liberal arts. And the word has been coined and taken from the Latin word liberalis, right? Okay, so that was a brief note. And if I can share, I don't know if I can share my screen. Mm, okay, leave. So there is a structure, and there are 7 liberal arts. So there are 7 liberal arts subject or skill that give rise and give way to another whole world of skills and subjects, right? So the 7 main is can be divided into 3, that is trivium, and 4, that is quadrivium, right? Quadral से 4 से quadrivium, and tri से trivium. Now trivium has three initially 3 जो उसके main ingredients हैं, वो 1 grammar, second logic, and please also note the order that I am talking about. In the order: grammar, logic, and rhetoric. Okay, so grammar is when you get to answer questions like who, what, when, where. Who, what, when, where. And this forms the basic structure. Now let's relate it to law. Now when you go to a case, when you study a case, the first thing that you study is the understanding of the facts, because with every fact, with every minutest of difference in fact will make a different case, right? So it is very important to draw the chronology of the facts, occurrence of events. Now all these events would be catered, these events and these facts will be catered under the grammar. Okay, who, what, when, where. The next is logic. Logic is when you are able to answer the question why. Now, when we look forward to answer why, we are bringing in the logic, the reasoning, our experiences, different, and that is why it is very important to have a varied background, and a judge should have good exposure to various diversities, various understanding, and you should not be confined in a room to have your blogged understanding. A liberal judgment comes from a liberal mindset. So now logics should be part of your answering of
70
why.
వరకు రాయాలి. ఇప్పుడు ఒక 1 minute ఇవ్వండి.
Rita, I would, Miss Rathi, I would request you to
46.
keep your hands down, and if you have any question, you can post it towards the end. Okay. Now, so we understand that there has to be एक facts है पूरा, एक event है, और फिर उसमें एक logic हमने लगाया. We have put our understanding that could be driven by the cultural aspect, the diversities, the demographical situations, and there could be so many aspects attached to our own understanding and to our own logics, right? So we have logic which will give answer to the question why. And then we have rhetoric, which answers the question how. Now, if you reach to an understanding, to a reasoning, how have you reached to that point? What are the precedents? What is the law behind? What are the rules, regulation, policies? It could vary, right? So there could be an understanding of how. Now, this, when you combine, you get the answers to the question who, what, when, where, why, how. इसके सिवा कौन सा क्वेश्चन रह जाता है? कोई क्वेश्चन रह जाता है एक पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट की अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए? That's a question to you. I think when answer these, we satisfy ourselves, we satisfy our environment. So these 6 important questions gives you and these answers to whole lot of situations and scenarios that you can face in your day-to-day life. jot down of what thoughts prevail, because law, as I said, is ever changing. You should not teach them the law, you should tell them, teach them how to interpret the law. So please bring that live discussions in the class, which is very healthy, and which will keep all the students involved. And you may not. Yesterday also, Dr. Preeti was saying about, from where we start, and we cater the needs of some 50. I say you have to cater your needs to all 100% students. You have to start not from who is the highest taker of from your class, who is the lowest person in your class. Work with them, bring them at par. Initial classes and those who are teaching subjects like tort, contract, they have a lot of burden on them to make them learn to read and understand, reflect, observe, um, listen. तो मेरे को लगता है एक लॉयर के लिए कुछ स्किल्स बहुत जरूरी हैं. वी थ्रू लिबरल आर्ट्स वी हैव बीन टॉकिंग अबाउट communication, we have been talking about critical thinking, we are talking about decision making. All this come from these 7 subjects of liberal arts, right? 7 roads to liberal arts. So these all what I'm talking, this critical, this soft skills that are being taught under NEP, they have all evolved from liberal arts, the idea of liberal art, right? So all these skill sets and subjects that come out from this liberal arts, they I think they are not particularly catering to the needs of a legal professional, but to a lot of extent. And there are certain other things that I think for a lawyer it is very important to comprehend, correct comprehension. It is very important to listen, to have a good concentration, to listen correctly. A word that is spoken correctly. So, and it is equally important to, excuse me, it is equally important to have the argument, skills of argument. Now, हर बच्चा मैंने बहुत लोगों को सुना है कि तुमने लॉ क्यों करा, क्योंकि मम्मी पापा ने कहा तुम बहुत आर्ग्यू करते हो, तुम्हें लॉ करना चाहिए. Argument is nothing to do with law. Correct argument in the right direction has something to do with law. So हर बच्चा जो घर में बहस कर रहा है वो अच्छा लॉयर बनेगा, इसकी कोई गारंटी नहीं है. लेकिन हर बच्चा जो रीजनिंग के साथ बहस कर रहा है वो एक अच्छा लॉयर बनेगा, इसकी गारंटी है शायद. So my idea is to communicate to you that you should encourage these discussions, debates, deliberations in the class. कोई भी टॉपिक आप उठाइए 5-10 मिनट पहले उन्हें बोलने दीजिए और फिर आप उनको सुनाइए, तो वो ज्यादा ध्यान से सुनेंगे कि वो कहाँ गलत है, और अगर सही है तो वो और इंटरेस्ट से सुनेंगे कि हम तो सही बोल रहे थे. तो मुझे लगता है दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वी स्टार्ट most of our discussions, and so I strongly profess the Socrates style of teaching. Add your own elements to it, add your own innovations to it, but keep that intact. For law it is very important, for political science it is very important. Okay, back to my discussion on liberal arts. So now we have an understanding of these 6 critical words which leads to critical understanding of law, and for that matter any concerns of your life. um, okay, now when I somewhere said that don't leave the order of trivium, right? Anybody quickly on the chat box, what is the order of trivium that I have just spoken about? What was the order I have taken those 3 aspects and 3 roads to the trivium? Anybody, anyone who can retain, put it in the chat box quickly. Why no response? Am I not able to reach out to you? Thank you, Saloni. At least somebody is affirming that she has been listening. Okay. So, yes, grammar, logic, and okay. Thank you. Now, why you don't have to break this order? I will also connect to this to the legal understanding why we don't have to break the order, because logic cannot supersede the facts. Decisions cannot supersede the facts. So facts has to come first, then you apply the logic, and then you have the reasons of your application of your logic. And so you understand an understanding of how. So never miss out on the order, and that gives you the correct understanding of the trivia. Okay. I have already one question, and I will definitely going to address this because maybe in the flow there could be a word here and there, and probably somebody has caught that. So I'll just give an explanation to that. Okay. Uh, Not necessarily. Okay. This is good that you are all set to disagree to this, but this is a universal truth. So I don't think there is much of disagreement that is required here. This has been practiced for long. We are, I mean, as a law graduate, I know we are tempted to agree to disagree. So that temptation is very genuine. I come back to a few points where I have, I left it untouched. So when I say that we need to integrate, now integration is important. So why not? So for, let's say, we're talking about I am more comfortable with corporate subjects, and so I would want to take example from a corporate understanding. So say if a student is studying BBLLB, and he has a lot of lined up subjects of management, and he's also being taught corporate law, company law, contract, negotiable, banking instruments, um, banking and instruments, insurance. So there are a whole lot of corporate subjects. Why we cannot plan and go to a private banking sector and have them understand that first hand information and gather that? Or we can go ask them to go reach out to and make them break them into groups and take them to, I mean, obviously we cannot take a class to an organization, so we can break them into groups and take them one group at a place, the other group in another place, and then we can ask them to collaborate, exchange the ideas and their learning. That would be, if not first hand, at least second hand. What we are making them learn here would not bring in a good understanding. Now, experiential learning is not just a term. Experiential learning has to be given, has to be practiced, has to be. So my understanding is why we are confined to classrooms and learning. Why can't we go out and learn? Why we cannot explore? Obviously, you are doing a job with the permission, with the due permission of authorities. You can, I mean, at least those who are teaching in metros, they have a good lot of exposure, and people are ready. We are bringing in now this UGC has permitted to incorporate a lot of professors in practice. Why? Because they have, now there are two reasons. They serve two purposes. One, that they give you the first hand information to the students, and second, that they have good connects. They can easily, implement these these what you call it, study tours. They can connect to the corporates, they can take us. So that is also very important aspect. And that gives you, I think, more better understanding of same aspects. So if I am teaching contract, why? So I start my session on contract with first exercise that I gave. It's just an example. The first exercise that I gave to my students is that go back home today, observe, and come with 5 contracts that you may have entered every day. Now, the second exercise, so this is my TA1 or maybe assessment one, right? They come up with 5 such examples. Next day, each with their, if say 3 are common, 2 are exclusively exclusive to each student. The next thing that I do is that when I am teaching essentials of contract, keep your that paper by your side. Mark those 5 essentials of contract. Where can you see the consideration in your contract that you have written? They will identify not all 5 of those that they brought were the contract. Say only 2 were contracts. So there is no negative marking because they have done their first task. And the second task, they have identified whatever were the contracts, they could identify those 5 elements. So this brings in the exercise that they are doing. You may have asked them to collect um, some contracts around. So everybody enters house contracts that they enter, uh, anything, even the purchases that you make, the bills that you have. Ask them to collect, bring it, submit it as an assignment, highlight the essentials, submit. They are doing it. They will reflect so these could be the assessments that I would suggest. I might not sound to many very new, but to the, because I categorize that there could be there is a problem, there is a psychological problem with us, all of us, that we don't want to come out of our cocoons, we don't want to explore, experiment. चल रहा है, हो रहा है, बच्चे समझ रहे हैं, अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, they are giving good results. Let us keep it this way. We can at least give it we may fail, but we should give an attempt, and we should allow that creativity for our students, right? The industrialization era has gone, where we wanted people to mug up, learn. Why can't we have open book exams for internals? Why cannot we have the entire paper on a problem based, where you only have to apply, and only if you know the law you can apply the law. You cannot just apply by just so referring to your provisions of the Bear Act will not communicate that you don't have to mark it up. You have to understand. And there was a very nice slide Dr. Preeti yesterday shared, that उन्हें involve कर लो, they will understand and they will learn. So my idea is, we can for internals certainly we can explore, experiment, unless, because end term semester I understand we cannot have we cannot be very flexible with the unless until BCI does that, we cannot. But then yes, internals we can, and we have all the hard copies of all these assignments to put it for our that to reproduce before the authorities. We have it, don't we? So my idea was only to infuse to our young the teachers in the making, to infuse that we are now, I mean, at least I regard myself a little mundane and little obsolete for the revolution that you can bring. So whenever you start your career, please always keep in mind to experiment, explore, and bring out that creativity in your classrooms. That is all that I wanted to talk about. Okay, last thing. From where I started, 2 things that I wanted to talk about. One is internal interdisciplinary. So you just don't have to teach those subjects as a BA ke subjects padha liye, as in humanities ke, and then we have taught law subjects. We have to integrate them. We have to look for the common understanding where we can coincide, where we can merge. So that is only possible if me sit with a teacher from management. We design our curriculum then. So she does for her management curriculum, and so do I for my law curriculum. And when we sit together, then would come the little, the real, that could be the, that what we want to give to our students. That is integration, right? So just not the teaching would complete the task. A proper integration would be the complete task that is in hand, that we want to. And the another topic, and this will definitely lead to, be law is one discipline जो बहुत openly welcome करता है interdisciplinary research. No law can be touched upon without a sociological or a psychological aspect or an economical aspect. So all researches, said or unsaid, are interdisciplinary. The only thing is we have to bring in that. We have to include that in. That is the only thing that we have to do. We are already doing it. We are not exhibiting it. We are not showing it. That is all that is missing. And we all are doing interdisciplinary. So one introductory, or maybe the second chapter, should be always touching what you are actually reaching out to. One is sensitization. Now, I would request, when you are doing that overhauling of your curriculum, definitely include one internship on with NGOs. Your children going to an NGO for 4 weeks, working with those difficult environment, would definitely learn and will be little sensitized towards social issues. Every university have an internship on NGO. The only thing is that students listen to us. We have to push them. We have to encourage them that do that internship with full dedication, as you would intern for a law firm, or you would intern to a court. Do this with equal devotion, because unless and until you are sensitized towards social issues, the law evolves from society. You will not understand, appreciate, because there is so much diversities. They could very well catered the provision in the constitution. There cannot be equality among unequals. So you have to identify those diversities. You have to relate, and you can only relate when you go. Why only community, this mohalla clinics for health can be there? Why cannot be there mohalla legal clinics? Why we cannot ask students of law from same area to have 1 day dedicated for this? Do that pro bono. You will first do that uh, community research. What are the social issues? Maybe first year, second year, and by the time you graduate with the same mohalla and the same clinic, you will first bring out those issues, and then you can cater the needs, and you can give that assistance. I mean, I don't know. This is just one idea that I want to float. We can experiment. There is no harm in experimenting. I am done. One question I know I have. Others may also post. There could be so many who will differ. There could be another who will agree. I am looking for more support. Okay. So one question that I already have from Mr. Pradeep Rai. Liberal arts can't be taught. Why not? Liberal arts are being taught everywhere. Okay. Uh, okay. So if you teach, sir, I'm just addressing your query. If you are teaching, say, art and music. Now, what does this art and music does? It only gives you sounds. It gives you folk music, which comes from different parts of India. Now they you understand the diversities. Why can't you? And why music का origin कहाँ से हुआ है सर? मैंने quadrium नहीं address किया, and probably इसलिए ये आपका आया है. Maybe the next session ever I get a chance to take another FDP, I'll touch upon the other four aspects. And this is music is just numbers and nothing else. आप देखिए numbers लिखे होते हैं, वो एक numbers हैं, उसकी series है. तो म्यूजिक क्यों नहीं बताएगा? और नंबर्स क्या बताता है आपको? नंबर्स डेफिनेटली गिव्स यू अ रीजनिंग. Numbers teach you reasoning. Maths gives you leads to you. Why math students, science students are doing really wonderful in law? I differ. I might have not satisfied your answer, but your question. But I differ. They can be taught in different forms. They can be, they can be infused. And I'm not saying taught. Of course, learning is a process, so it cannot be. आप सिर्फ एक idea float करिए, बाकी वो करेंगे खुद से. They can be developed. Quality is developed. तो हम skills सिखाते हैं. I'm done. Manish, Jaya ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an informative session. I'm sure everyone has learned a lot from this valuable session. Now, I would like to invite all the participants for the questions if they wish to ask. Some questions have already been asked. If someone want to ask a question, please raise your hand or ask the question in the chat box. I think, ma'am, we don't have any questions now. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
One last thing that I would want you to, my whole idea of telling you all this is that uh, liberal arts को को जरूरी नहीं है कि यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल पे लॉन्च किया जाए. We can, and we are, soft skills are taught in the class, and this is all generated from liberal arts. So my only thing is, next time whenever you are sitting, just my only idea was there has to be a platter to pick your choices, to make your choices, what I like and what I want to eat first and what I want to eat last. So, there should be a whole lot of platter. So serve yourself with a good platter and then pick what you want to. Yes,
Ma'am, we have one question from Sukriti
yes,
Yadav.
Miss Sukriti, it's a discipline. It's a discipline, and it's more of, that's a mix of humanities and management. But, and law is no, like sociology, yes, like psychology, emotional intelligence, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all these science and humanities together uh, makes a discipline that is liberal arts. And law is not far away from, we are already there, but we are unable to introduce it. So my idea is only to tell that we are not away. Liberal arts is is very nascent and is a necessary for all graduating students, irrespective of the discipline. This teaches, it's give you the freedom of choice. When I said freedom, jisko ki probably sir ne galat tarah se, liberal mindset, as in liberal, free from all. We are not restricted to हमें यही पढ़ना है, वो पढ़ना है, यहीं से लेने हैं papers, यही वाले papers लेने हैं. Now in foreign, globally, what you are doing is you can pick any subject from anywhere, and if you complete your credits, you are provided with a degree. I know we are not, because we jobs are not such. हम यहाँ से अगर ऐसे graduate निकाल भी देंगे तो वो jobs नहीं, they will not get jobs in the market. So until there are jobs, we are not allowing in full swing. But we can certainly introduce, because this is a great idea, a great process of learning. That is only what I wanted to convey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This has shown definitely a glimpse of bridge that you have maintained between a classroom or from courtroom to the classroom. This would definitely help in every aspect to design our curriculum or our assessment process in an experiential way. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.